Only baby. He said, we're going to keep this casket open. The president, governors, city council, mayor said, no, keep it closed. She said, no, we're going to see the underside of American democracy. We're going to keep the focus on the funk. We're not going to highlight this deodorized talk about American freedom when my baby lies in that coffin. And what did she say to the world? She stepped to that lectern with Socratic energy. She had some scrutinizing to do. But she also had that love inside of her that you hear in John Coltrane's The Love Supreme. And what did she say? She looked over his head. His head was 5 times the size of his ordinary head. Tears flowing. She said, I don't have a minute to hate. I will pursue justice for the rest of my life. She spoke on behalf not just of black people, not just on behalf of America. She spoke on behalf of the best of humanity. She didn't even have to read Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice to know the difference between justice and revenge. She didn't call for hunting them down like cockroaches, stuffing them out. That's one reason why there's no black Al-Qaeda in America. After 350 years of being terrorized and traumatized and stigmatized, black folk keep dishing out these folk talking about love, knowing that justice is what love looks like in public anyway. Because if you really love the folk, you hate the fact they're being treated unjustly. You hate the fact they're being treated unfairly. So justice also becomes fire inside of you. America, do you understand that when you're talking about social justice, it's in no way confined to black people, but look at the history of black folk, like Du Bois's Souls of Black Folk, or Du Bois's The Gift of Black Folk, or Black Reconstruction. They're talking about reconstructed conceptions of freedom for everybody, reconstructed conceptions of democracy for everybody, but it should begin by focusing on the least of these, our most weak and vulnerable citizens and human beings. If not, they will be left out. And we can't leave anybody out. As the National Council of Negro Women says, lift as you climb, but make sure you touch somebody and everybody. And I applaud the president. I know my dear brother Barack Obama has been catching hell ever since he declared his candidacy. There's no doubt about that. I was blessed to actually engage in 65 events for my dear brother from Iowa through Ohio. But I told him from the very beginning, I said I would be a Socratic supporter. Socratic supporter, which is to say critical. When you're siding with the weak and the poor and working classes, I'm with you 120%. If I see you siding too much with the Wall Street bankers, if I see you spending too much time with Geithner and Summers and others, you're going to hear some critique coming out of me. Oh yes, deep critique coming out of me. If you don't stand up for that public option, I'm going to be upset. If you don't push through single payer, I'm going to be real upset. But I understand, I still love you. I still love you, brother. I know that. My love goes deep. I want to protect you against the vicious lies of the right wing and some of these news channels that I won't mention, like Fox News. I want to protect you. Too many lies coming at you. I want to respect you as a human being, as a fellow citizen, and as president. You are in a situation that I know not of. But that love also connects you, protecting and respecting with correcting you. You need to be corrected if you're not zeroing in on working people and poor people the way investment bankers have been zeroed in when they receive their welfare. Oh yes, taxpayers' money to do what? Too big to fail. Oh, does that mean working people too little to rescue? Oh, please, could you break it down for me? I want to know what your priorities are. Love has to do with priorities. Well, it's a matter of national security. Well, you know what? When I look at poor and working people's health and education and depression-like levels of unemployment and underemployment, that's a matter of national emergency, national security too. It depends on the lens through which you look at America. Let's have not just a conversation, let's have some kind of overlap in what we're doing. With an attempt, of course, to always protect the rights and liberties. My dear right-wing brothers and sisters have a right to be often wrong. And I will protect their right to be often wrong. In a democracy, it's not a matter of just unanimity and agreement. But we don't want the whole terrain to be shaped in such a way that poor people and working people, generation after generation after generation, experience social neglect rather than social justice, social abandonment rather than social justice. I salute each and every one of you for sustaining this tradition. I don't want to end on a blue note. It's like I began on a Socratic note, because I am a blues man in the life of the mind. I try to be a jazz man in the world of ideas. And the blues, as Ralph Waldo Ellison, one of the greatest literary artists of the 20th century, author of Invisible Man and Juneteenth, other powerful works, he used to say the blues is an autobiographical chronicle of a personal catastrophe expressed lyrically. So blues forces us to confront the catastrophic. When we look at public health system, it's catastrophic. Public education is catastrophic. But it doesn't allow catastrophe to have the last word. I can hear B.B. King, the king of the blues, 84 years old. I was just with him just a few weeks ago on his birthday. Love that brother. He used to say, nobody loves me but my mama, and she might be jiving too. Boy, that's the blues, and that's the B-side of The Thrill Is Gone. Y'all know that. Catastrophe. Strange fruit the southern trees bear. Billie Holiday sang about. American terrorism for any people, indigenous peoples, poor peoples, black peoples. That's catastrophic. America often specializes in deodorized discourses that are sentimental, that always want to talk just about those who are successful and downplay those still stuck in the basement wrestling with catastrophic circumstances. There's a difference between Guy Lombardo and Duke Ellington's band. One is very nice and sugar-coated and sweet, and the other's full of dissonance and minor keys and chords a little bit off, seemingly wrong, but as Monk used to say, sometimes wrong is right. That's called the blues. And you have to have a blues sensibility, because I know as workers in the public health system, you all have made catastrophe and sorrow your constant companions, and somehow you have to keep moving anyhow. That's a blues sensibility. How do you bring together the Socratic, the prophetic? But in order to be a long-distance runner, you're going to have a blues sensibility. That's why, for me, I have nothing to do with optimism nor pessimism. Because the blues is neither optimistic nor pessimistic. Blues has been down so long, the down don't worry me no more. That's why I keep keeping on. It's Curtis Mayfield's Keep On Pushing. In fact, when I run into folk who are optimistic in America, I know that individually they're doing well, but they have forgotten their fellow citizens who are catching hell. We in this together. We hang together, we hang separately. In a democracy, we're on the same ship. It's so easy these days with our market mentalities and market sensibilities. Somehow think it's just about me, 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 I, rather than we, cross color, cross culture, cross class. Blues sensibility says no optimism, no pessimism. We're going to be prisoners of hope. We're going to be veterans of hope. Never confuse hope with optimism. We're going to be ambassadors of hope, which means we decide to be human beings in such a way that Socratically we're going to think critically against the grain, that prophetically we're going to bear witness to justice, but motivated by deep compassion. And if the love is not in it, then it's all nothing but sounding brass and tinkling cymbal. It's all about your own individual ideological project or political aim. No, it's about getting outside of yourself and connecting with others, and then being a blues person and saying, and I decide to be faithful unto death. No matter how dark times are, I'm going to allow my light to shine, because I'm a member of the American Public Health Association.